All right, welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Bung Pod. I am your host, Ian King, aka Wine Wonder Boy, as some people call me. Ms. Jazzy is not here today, unfortunately. She has her little EMT course that she's doing. Sorry, not little. It's a big EMT course. It requires a lot of studying. So all good thoughts and respect to her. But we have an awesome guest right now. It's actually our first ever Winemaker episode.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize
the first one.
Holy shit.
So I'm very excited right now.
No way.
But we have an awesome person here. He's a friend of mine. He started his own label pretty organically, and we're going to go into that. He's a winemaker, co-owner of your label?
Yep.
Co or owner?
Co with my father and my brother.
Okay,
so,
cool. Yeah.
Co-owner.
And we'll get into that too. So co-owner of the label, creator.
Yep.
Winemaker extraordinaire. Erik Cooper in the building.
I'm here, people. Get ready.
Here we are. Here we are.
Here we go.
Erik Cooper is a winemaker and co-owner of Vibe Cellars.
Yes.
And let me tell you right now, if you're not watching the video, it's a vibe. It is a true vibe in here.
Well, that was kind of the idea with the name. Like, working in the wine industry and also like in the restaurant industry before was, there's nothing that I do not like least about wine is the pretentiousness about it. So like when I was working in a winery and like you talk to people about Viognier and Viognier, it's like, no, it's Viognier. Viognier was my favorite word.
Viognier, I love
this
that.
This guy owned it too.
I used to say Viognier.
Yeah, Viognier. But this guy was like, I'll take a Viognier. I was like, you can have that, brother.
You can have that, man.
He said it with no qualms. Everybody else would be like, I want the one that starts with a V.
Yeah.
So I
fucking love that.
I know. And it's like and then like Chateau Le Fer Le Pont and like Chateau this, Chateau that, or, other wineries that are harder to pronounce. And wine is pretentious in a way.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I was a bartender previously in my earlier life, and I think it should be approachable. And why is wine not approachable like every other spirit?
Yeah.
And that's where wine industry is losing a lot of market share.
Yeah.
Is from people, the younger generation, obviously. There's ready-to-drink cocktails. There's all these things that are eating up the market share of wine. So why not have a wine that's approachable and not pretentious, but also a name that's not hard to pronounce?
Yeah.
So that was one of those things going into it was, let's have a name that's easy to say that has to do with music, hanging out with friends, and enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than, some...
I love that. That's
Yeah.
great. I mean, that's kind of why we started this kind of podcast that we did. I mean, we have listened to so many wine podcasts over the years of our journey, just being in the industry and whatnot. And it's they're great education tools, but some of them are so pretentious and also just like boring. And so we wanted to create one that is not pretentious.
For sure.
And that can, give people an avenue, a way into learning something about wine.
And that's the whole thing. Like, you want people to come into this. Wine should be enjoyed, and if it tastes good to you and you want to spend the money on it, then that's all it is. You're a consumer of any other product. So it doesn't matter what you should like. Somebody tells you should like Cabernet Sauvignon, or you should like Cab Franc, or you should like, Viognier or Riesling. And it's like, if it agrees with your palate, then buy it.
Yeah.
Drink it. Because it's just like drinking a vodka soda or a gin and tonic. I hate gin, personally. I never drink it.
I love gin.
It tastes like
I can't do vodka. It tastes like pine needles. It's a juniper.
Exactly.
Juniper berry. Yeah.
And all that. It just never agreed with me. So that's the whole thing. It's like, it is your palate. That's all that matters in wine. Do you like it? Do you not? Would you spend money on it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we came from with this idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that. Dude, my beginnings with gin was like, it's not going to be a tangent, but like, it was in high school because I listened to songs Gin and Juice.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Snoop. And I listened to rap music. I tried what they were trying, and doing.
Henny, Coke.
Yeah, I wasn't doing Coke, but like I was doing
Henny and Coke.
Oh, Henny and Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I know.
People.
That was college, man. I don't do that anymore. I'm too old for that.
Henny,
Yeah.
And so I would do like the gin and juice, the gin with the orange juice, and I was like, this is hitting. But anyways, now in the wine game.
Yeah, I was thinking the Incredible Hulk. That was a fun one too. Hypnotic and Henny. And
I've done that.
The Incredible Hulk, and you're like, what is that? And it turns green like that is pretty cool, and it tastes like, dear God, no.
Yeah,
but
it looks cool.
Exactly, it does. Sometimes it's cool to have a blue drink, pink drink. I don't care what I drink as long as it has some alcohol in it.
There you go. Unless it's gin.
Yeah.
Don't hit him with the gin, baby.
No.
No gin here.
There's only
but yeah, now we're in the wine scene, man.
Yeah, I know.
So tell me about this wine. You brought a wine.
This Gemelli.
Gemelli.
Yeah, it's hard to see right now. But
it's a Super Tuscan blend.
It is a Super Tuscan blend. So Gemelli means twin in Italian. I'm an identical twin. So it's me, my twin brother, and then my dad who own this winery. And then I make the wines. Michael lives on the west side of the mountains from where we're on the eastern Washington side. And
so it lives in the more Seattle area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then we're over here, and then my dad's on that side too, but he's over here a lot. And but Gemelli being Italian heritage and got into wine because my father and our history was that his grandparents made wine at home for fun. Then he got involved with the Bung Wine Club, and then as did I and my brother. So this was the first red wine blend I really enjoyed. So early on, I was like, wow, like anything that was Sangiovese or an Italian grape blend was very interesting to me and approachable because it is cherry, raspberry, all the brightness of red wines.
Yeah, like the tart cherry.
For sure. But then the Cab and Merlot or whatever else you're going to blend in. I have Cab and Merlot in mine, but you can blend in a couple other varietals in there if you like. I haven't done that yet. Maybe in the future. I got some Cab Franc this year, which I might blend in. We'll see. Haven't done blending trials yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, very expressive. And being that being an identical twin, that's kind of my identity in life. I don't have any other brothers and sisters. We're always the Cooper twins, so it's hard to tell identical twins apart. So you're just the twins, the Cooper twins. So that was kind of the idea, and that was part of the Vibe name came from when we made wine at home for fun with my dad through Bung Wine Club. We called it Vibe Cellars, and then I got into wine when I moved out here to Lake Chelan, Washington, and really was thinking about ideas like if I could do this, would I call it Vibe Cellars? And I was like, no, it's hard to pronounce. Like people every day come in like they want the Gemelli or the Gemelli. It's like, well, it's Gemini, Gemelli. But then it's like you tell them that and 2 minutes later it's like, I'll take a bottle of the Gemelli. And you're like, okay, cool. That went right over your head. But it happens. So.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a minute because if you enjoy this podcast, I have some amazing news for you. Do you want more content from us? Extra episodes per week? Video podcasts? Discounts every time we drop some dope-ass merch? Do you want your opinions, hot takes, and topics to be covered on the podcast and be a producer on the show? That's right. We want your opinions. We want your personal hot takes. Join the Bung Pod Jabroni Gang and get your voice heard on the show. Just head to patreon.com/official Bung Pod and talk to us. Link is in the description. Now let's get back to the show. I mean, dude, I love my dad so much. He is the worst at pronouncing things that are not English. And it cracks me up. It's like a little quirk that makes me laugh every time. He calls it the Gemelli. And dude, you should hear him try and say some like Asian dishes, just like entrees and stuff that's not like teriyaki.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, we all know that. And sushi. But like sashimi, like no, it's shishami. Or,
yeah. He doesn't know what a lot of things are. It's hilarious to me. He can't pronounce it. He tries, though. He tries.
That's that older generation,
That's all
they're stuck in their ways and they're older. Yeah. I'm starting to get there myself. I'm just that old man. You're just a grumpy old guy. Like, no, I'm really not that bad. Yeah. I swear.
Dude, my dad switched. Like, he used to be a little grumpier, like, growing up. Probably just stress. Having, us little shits.
Exactly.
Just like,
how many?
Especially me. I was a sarcastic asshole. Like all throughout middle school and high school, shocked. I was a shitty kid.
How many? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
I have one brother. He's 3.5 years older than me.
Gotcha.
He lives down in California, in Southern California.
Okay.
But yeah. So one thing I noticed about like Sangiovese in particular. I mean, I love drinking Chianti Classicos. I'm a big fan of Chianti Classico. And it is a lot lighter on the palate. For a lot of people, it's actually like your table wine sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of like a Pinot Noir-ish level. of like entry-level-ish red in a way, just because it's not too big, it's not too bold.
Exactly.
But it's bright, it's cherry, it's tart too, especially Chianti Classico.
And it has that sort of terracotta gardening pot.
Yeah, I can for
flavor.
sure.
And this does too.
Chianti. Yeah.
Which I just thought that was an Italian thing, because most Italian reds kind of have that going for it.
Oh, most definitely.
I'm not sure if it's because they don't clean their hoses, but...
I haven't been over there. I went, but I didn't go to any wineries when I was there. I was 22 and drinking... God, I don't know what I was drinking. Rum and Coke back then. Who knows?
Yeah? In Italy?
Yeah, I remember having red wine, and it was just the table wine at Cinque Terre. My brother and I just got hammered.
Yeah.
Right around the corner from the laundromat. And my dad came and we were like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, well, we're just sitting over here drinking red wine with these people we just met. And it's like, oh, okay, we'll drink. And then it was the worst morning ever. And then we went and hiked like 7 miles on the Cinque Terre or something. Oh, but I was 22, so I rallied through it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's sick, though. That's a fun experience.
It was amazing.
I still have never been overseas, man. I want to get over there. I want to go to France, do a whole wine thing, go to Italy, Spain.
Too. Yeah, Spain
do a whole
would
wine
be
thing.
amazing.
I want to go to Germany.
Yeah. Germany would be super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Italy in 2002, so that was 22 years ago.
I want to go to the UK too. There's a wine bar in London that listens to our podcast, or at least they like a lot of things on our Instagram. I don't know.
Cool.
But it'd be fun to go visit them and do like an interview with them.
For sure. And I hear the bubbles out there in England
it's starting up
huge. Yeah. Starting to be the spot. There was there was 3 English people in here on last Thursday.
Oh yeah.
And I was asking them, I was like, here you guys are growing a bunch of white grapes for bubbles. And they're like, oh yeah, like we do some good stuff out there. And they were in the older generation and they knew about it.
They knew about it? Okay, yeah.
It was kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I know that Stephen Spurrier planted his own grapes on his property before he passed. And they're all white grapes, just sparkling.
Oh, right.
And people were just laughing at him like, you're going to fucking plant,
you're gonna do that here
this
in
shit
England?
in England. They're like, no, like that belongs to France. It's like over like whatever.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was a Guild Som podcast I was supposed to do like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was talking about that, and that was the only reason I knew about it. I was like, really? Well, then I've tried one. Yeah, there was a bottle shop in Tacoma, Washington that I tried. It was delicious. Yeah, really good.
Do you have any more bottle shops over on the eastern side of the mountains?
Do I know how many there are? Is that what you asked? Or
no, we need more.
I know. I was going to say,
especially where we're at.
Wenatchee, maybe 1 or 2.
There are 2. There's Cave Noir, which is probably my second time talking about them on a podcast. I do love them though; they're great. And then there's Norwood. But Norwood's going through some remodeling things right now. I don't know what's going on over there, but they're making some changes, and they've been closed for a little bit.
Yeah, I've talked to them in the past when I was with the previous winery, and then the winery I'm at now, where I produce these wines. So talked to them about a year ago about doing a tasting out there, and just never followed up. Wholesaling, it's a lot of work.
Yeah. So you use other facilities to make your wine?
I do. So I got started by working at I got into wine through my father through Bung Wine Club, and I was a bartender in Bellevue, Washington, and then wanted out of that industry, and then got into the viticulture program through WSU, Washington State University, all online after work or days off, going through that. And I was like, well, it's college level farming. Like, I'm a city slicker. I don't even know what a grapevine looks like. What if I moved out to Lake Chelan? Because my father had a condo out here. So that's, I kicked the idea around for like 3 months. And I was like, well, what am I doing here? Like, why don't I go do that? It was probably more like 2, but I was like, well, I could go spend a summer in Lake Chelan, Washington. Why would I not do that?
Yeah.
And, so I reached out to like 9 wineries out here through email and like sent resumes and only heard from one, which ended up being where I worked, who had 7 acres of their own fruit, estate, vineyards, Viognier, Syrah, and Malbec. And then on another property next door was Sauvignon Blanc and more Malbec. And so I came out and worked with them and fell in love with the industry and this area, of course. Yeah. I mean, how do you not?
Yeah.
So, then I was like, wow, like they closed during the winter. So they're open from spring through, let's say, fall right after harvest, and then close up. And so I would split my time like 7 months here, 5 back on the west side, and then would come back come March-ish. So it was it was the best way to learn because I'm a hands-on learner. I can't read it in a book and then online figure it out. Like, I don't know what we're talking about here. What's a chute? What's a cordon? What's a trunk? What's a trellis system like VSP versus this trellising system? And so that was the best part, was seeing it and being like, then talking to the owner at the time too. I was like, so like we're going over like soil probes. Do you have any in the vineyard? He's like, absolutely not. Like, so like, how do you know when to irrigate your vineyard? He's like, well, dig a hole and I look at the soil. I thought he was fucking with me. I was like, really? And he's like, no, I really do. And then I look at the leaves so I can tell like when they need some water, then I irrigate. And I was like, well, this is like far, and this is 100 years or more of apples, cherries, nectarines, peaches, you name it. So it was pretty cool to learn from a true farmer who wasn't who was supportive of what I was doing and trying to learn. So it was a great way to get started. Yeah.
That's so interesting too with farming like that. Like the vineyard manager where I work on my day job, sometimes he has me go down through the vines and feel the leaves. Yeah. And he's like, do they feel cool to you or do they feel like warm? Yep. And if they feel warm, you need to turn on the irrigation. Exactly. But if they feel cool, like especially during our hot, like really hot snaps that we have,
which we have here
in the summertime, he'll just be feeling the leaves because it could be hot as hell, but if the leaves are cool, we're good.
Yeah, the respirating. Yeah, it's breathing out, and then so you know when they need to be fed the water and that sort of thing. But yeah, it was really interesting. So I asked them, like we were talking about production wise. So after working for them for 2 years, I was like, well, my dad's like, why don't you ask him about doing an alternating proprietorship, which means I'm a winery basically through the TTB and Washington State Liquor Control Board as a winery with inside of a winery. And I asked, they said yes. I couldn't believe it. I was like, you're kidding me. Like, oh, so this is how I start. And then it was like, okay, get some fruit contracts, bring in some fruit, make some wine, and did 7 barrels the first year. So using all their equipment, obviously, and then also with my labor / some type of rent, but there's ways to do it. Obviously, you can set up an alternative proprietorship and just pay a rental type of fee to produce your own wine, or you can, like I was joking, indentured servant. So you're working in the tasting room, you're working your ass off, you're selling their wine, you're doing wholesale, you're doing all these things, but you're doing it on your days off. So, and then after work too. So we bring in fruit for the winery you work for. You produce their fruit, you process that fruit, you go through it, and then afterwards you do yours. So you kind of get in where you fit in. Yeah. So you kind of have an interesting position too, because this is one I haven't really seen before. Maybe it's because just friendships. It's a big one, but mostly what I see is like people being an assistant winemaker and then making their own label. And sometimes like the winery will be like, okay, well you deserve more. A higher salary bump, but you know what? We don't have that ability. Yeah, which is fair to say if they're honest. And then like, oh, what we could do is that like you can make your own label and you can sell that, and so that we'll let you do that here, so that will be added to your income kind of thing. Yeah, to help them out. That's one of those things. Like the alternative proprietorship means like that's one of those things too. Sometimes it happens where if you don't have the AP set up, then you're technically like the winery could let you make a wine under their label, but they own your label. Yeah. Or they own the wine you make. Right. So we were separate from that. So like the TTBCs is like we put some blue tape on the ground type thing. They're like, okay, this is your wine production area. You alternate your days to do your production type thing. And that's how they see it. But so it means that I own my wine. I own my label. I make my wines. I ask questions, of course, because those are, you got to ask. I don't know how to do half the stuff. So even you just learn so much from mentorship and when people are willing to help. But part of it, I work my ass off for people. So when people see you work your ass off for them, then they might be more susceptible to you doing something for yourself. And that's what happened so I couldn't have been in a better position with more supportive people early on. And then now I produce these wines up the road here in Manson, Washington at Succession Wines. And I met Brock Lindsay through the viticulture course. We were in the same course together.
Oh, you were at the same time?
2016.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we met during that session, and my twin brother was in. He took viticulture, but he did not take enology. So it was a 2-year program, and Brock Lindsay was in it, and he showed up. It was hilarious. The first, they called it grape camp.
Yeah, I took the same course, the viticulture course through Wazoo.
Yeah. And what year were you there?
I did grape camps.
Yeah, those were fun.
Grape camp I did in 2020.
Okay.
Actually.
I think it was 16 through 18, and then I finished up enology in 2020, I think it was. But
I did 21.
Okay. Yeah, because you were around the COVID time, so did your grape camps get canceled, or was that right before that?
They became optional.
Okay.
Like if you feel comfortable enough to come, then do it. But the thing with me, I was living in Santa Barbara, California at the time, which is Central Coast.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Which is super fucking far.
Yeah.
So I had to take a plane ride to Seattle that connected to like Pasco.
Yeah.
And then or Tri-Cities area.
Yeah.
Because the grape camp is in Prosser.
Yes, Prosser,
which is in the Iraq. Iraq? Is it Iraq or Lyra? I think it's
the area.
No, like the facility, the Wazoo's Research Center.
What do they call that?
I think
it's like an old. It's
either Iraq or Lyrac. I think it's Iraq.
I think you're right. It's been so long. I mean, it was 2018.
I don't remember what it's called, but it's their main research facility
built in like 1950. Yeah. So it was like going back in time to those classrooms.
And it looks like it.
It does. But it was like cool, like classrooms, radiated heat.
But they're putting all their money into the vineyard, which is all the vineyards.
Yeah, and like research vineyards. So like we went out there one time and let's pull this block, like let's pull all the leaves off up to like the top 2 leaves and just see what happens. So Michelle Moyer, Dr. Moyer, was like, I'll let you guys know. And she's like, that didn't produce very well. Yeah. But it was fun because we just do whatever you want type thing. But we met so many fun people in your viticulture course. We had people from Chile. We had people from England. We had a lot of Canadians. Virginia was well represented.
We had a bunch of people from Napa, which actually really surprised me because they have UC Davis right there.
Yeah, it's
super fucking close. Like, why would you go?
I don't know. Maybe demand's higher and the price is a little bit higher too, I think. But Washington State University has an amazing
one they have a lot of prereqs though. UC Davis has tons of prereqs.
Chemistry based.
Yeah, chemistry based, and like no one wants to.
I faked it until I made it.
Yeah, comes to math and chemistry for me. I'm just a shit show.
Oh, me too.
So I'll do anything to get away with that.
Yeah.
Without doing that shit.
Business calculator. Exactly.
Yeah, dude. I skated by it in college. I took a stats class. It was an entry stats class.
I never made it.
From a different college than the one I was going to. And they're like, there's no prereqs, but it counts for your college credit.
There we go.
And then I was supposed to take four courses in order to get to the point where I could take the course that would give me the college credit for math. And I was like, this is me just doing like 4 semesters of math.
No, thank you.
But I can do this in one shot. I'm doing this.
Well, that's an easy way out. I like that. I always look for easy ways out.
Yeah, dude. I was like skating by in math, like getting like D's and like low C's. But the stats course, A+++. Well, something about stats that agrees with me.
I never made it to that class. That's why I took I went to ASU, Arizona State University, and we used to joke that it was called the barely in school degree, Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies. Yeah. It's
ASU,
like 2 minors equaled.
Sun Devils?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get the 2 mixed up sometimes.
Yeah, U of A is down in Tucson. Wildcats.
My cousins went there.
That's like university. I didn't have the grades to go to that. I was a state school guy. So
Same.
Yeah. Washington State.
I went to City College instead.
I went to community college for like almost 4 years before I transferred into ASU.
Yeah.
So it was a good time down there, but
yeah.
All right, guys, let's take a break for a minute because if you enjoy this podcast, I have some amazing news for you. Do you want more content from us? Extra episodes per week, video podcasts, discounts every time we drop some dope-ass merch? Do you want your opinions, hot takes, and topics to be covered on the podcast and be a producer on the show? That's right. We want your opinions. We want your personal hot takes. Join the Bung Pod Jabroni Gang and get your voice heard on the show. Just head to patreon.com/official Bung Pod and talk to us. Link is in the description. Now let's get back to the show.
Happy to be back here. And that was the thing coming back, was like, went back into bartending, recession 08, moved back to Washington, fell back into bartending from college, and then did that for a long time and wanted a way out. And that's how I got into wine. So
cool.
Wine is kind of my way out. I would never have thought this is where I would end up.
Yeah.
And it's every day coming here to my own tasting room and like, I actually made this. Like, you like it? Holy shit. Really? Like, holy fuck. You're actually going to buy a bottle? Like, oh, we want to sign up for your wine club. Like, oh my God, are you serious? Like, so it's one of those things. I'm a humble guy. Like, I don't like egotistical people, and I don't, that's not me, but it is cool when people like it, and it's always fun when they're like, ew, I don't like it. Like, why don't you tell me what you don't like about that? I'm like, it's really sweet. Like, actually, RS on that is quite low. Yeah. It's not sweet at all. But, there's it's your palate.
With the wine drinking community, I think it's so hard because their definitions are so much different than what is actually true when you come into like wine literature, if you will, or our vernacular, the things that we use. And most of it's science-based. So dry means no sugar.
Exactly.
Right?
I know.
And so, but people think dry means the way it feels on your mouth.
Yeah.
Or sweetness. And like, it's not sweet, it has no RS. It just is very fruit forward.
Exactly.
And there's high acid, which gives you perceived sweetness.
And that's part of the thing with wine, which is it's hard like to develop your palate. So, and that's what people like, I don't, they'll read your tasting notes, and like, that's one of those are adjectives we use to describe the wine that we thought would help guide you through it, but that doesn't mean you have to taste those things.
Yeah.
It's your own palate. Like,
exactly.
And if you're not trained on like what a black currant is, what's cassis? Like, I don't know. It's I think it's an East Coast currant, technically, or a European currant they call cassis. So, but I've gone to Metropolitan Market in Seattle area. That's always a fun one because you go out there in the spring and they've got like red, white, and black currants. And
I want to try a white currant.
Yeah, they're tannic.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I grew up with red currants in my backyard.
Oh, I did not.
So whenever I bring out like, it's just like red currant, it's like, I know that shit like back in my hand. People were like, where the fuck did you get that from?
It's like a salmon
like my childhood.
Yeah. Well, you ever had a salmon berry? Those always grew in Pacific Northwest, like in the woods, and like that one you can eat.
Jasmine brought it up the last
really?
podcast.
Yeah, salmon berries.
Like,
they look like a salmon egg, kind of that color.
They do. They really do.
And they're tasty and sweet, especially late August. But that's the only time I had them.
I mix up a brambleberry with a marionberry.
I think they're pretty similar.
They're very. I mean, I guess they're similar.
Marion
but like,
could be a more tart.
People say a bramble. When I looked it up during the podcast, I looked it up on my phone, and it said that red currants can also be called brambleberries. So I guess they're the same berry, but I thought it was separate.
I thought bramble was like anything with like they call it a bramble bush.
Like, like a bush berry,
sticky,
like blackberry.
Like something had a blackberry, raspberry. I don't know if huckleberries have stickers on them.
Oh yeah,
let's call them stickers. Sticker bush.
Yeah, salmon berries.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I think they have stickers on it, but it's been too long.
Yeah, I mean, I like this wine, man. You do a really good job. Like, this does give me that terracotta clay pot thing, which I look for in Sangiovese. Sometimes when New World producers make it, New World for the people just means pretty much anything not conquered by the Roman Empire.
Yeah, exactly. Winners.
We can thank the Romans for the grapes that we have, though. They brought everything to France.
Everywhere.
Yeah, they brought it fucking where. Spain, Italy, France. But so like New World specifically, like I'm talking United States, a lot of Sangios I've had are just like, I mean, they don't taste bad. They're just very fruit forward and not like the original. Yeah. Not like Chianti. And I'm just like, it's a bummer. But
it's tough to replicate what they do there, but at the same point, I appreciate that. I mean, that is the thing. Sometimes you do new oak, too much extraction, and I feel like I've started to kind of nail it. And the 2018 vintage of Sangio was really dark and big and almost too much. And the first couple times I tasted bottle shops on it, they were like, "Well, this isn't a Sangiovese." I was like, "Well, okay." No, bottle shops.
Oh, bottle
when
shops.
I was trying to do, when I was trying to do wholesale sales on it before I had a taste. I didn't have a taste room. I started in 18 vintage, and I didn't have a taste room until 21. So the only avenue I had to sell was through wholesale.
Okay.
And I had already done wholesale for the winery I worked for before, so that was my only avenue to sell it. There's no retail space, and I didn't have the ability to do a taste room because my inventory was so low. So you have to figure out how, like after sitting in bottle for a year, it's like, well, we've already paid for this. We've got a bunch of sunk costs, our investment in that. You have to start returning on that. So that's where it is fun to make wine, but it is a business. So how do you start recouping your investment cost on that? And also when like that 18 vintage and you have a 19 in barrel, which you paid for, which is my family. So I'm not going to stress my family out with it. It's like, how the hell are we going to fucking sell this? Because we don't have a tasting room. So like your only avenue is wholesale or farmers markets or tasting walks or this and that. So that's the whole thing.
Just going out there and shopping at people.
Exactly. Just walk in, get ready, told no. Just walk in like, they're going to say yes. They always say no. Yeah. And then you're like, yes, holy shit, really? Okay, how much do you want? Like 3? Like, sweet, I'll sell you 3 bottles. Yeah. Or I'll sell you 6 or I'll sell you a case. That's the way it goes. Yeah. But you go in with, I would always go in low expectations because it's how I am. Expect low, high expectations. Like, whoa, this is a win. Yeah. But that's just, I'm a pessimist, so. Like, this glass is definitely almost empty.
Yeah, I really try and have a good mindset about stuff like that, where it's like, okay, I can't expect, like I've been working hard, or like, I'm a big person about manifesting things, which is like that's also something I want to talk to you about as well, like your mindset going into opening up your own label. And like, I'm a big person with manifesting things in life and working hard. Yeah. But I'm also impatient, and it's so hard to be that, because you have to be patient. Extremely. With that kind of stuff, with that mindset. And
I would say like I'm a little opposite of what you are. Like I'm very patient and not so much like manifesting. And so like my father was the one who was driving me to do some of this. Was like, you can do this. You can do an AP agreement. You can make your own wine. I'm like, oh my God, like really? Like I'm a bartender. I'm a guy who works in the taste room. Like I make wine. I've gone through I'm educated. I can do this, but like, holy shit. Like, but I was older too. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, and I was one of those people who didn't know what the hell I wanted to do until I was 30 something, late 30s. And now I'm 43 years old, like doing this. So
you're 43?
Yeah.
Dan, you look so fucking good.
Thanks, partner. Give me 5 more years. These crow's feet are coming in hardcore, and the grays are coming everywhere. I'm like hairy ears.
I would say 35.
I'd like to say 33.
Yeah,
I'd like
to
take
that's me
10
right
off.
there.
Oh, cheers to that, partner.
Hey, there you
I
go.
I was
We're
once
the same
33.
age, man.
Yeah, I know. I was once 33. It'll go fast, let me tell you. Yeah. But that's one of those things. Like I would say it's also like the mentality of who I was raised by, and what, like my mentality was not so much that. It's like you look at sometimes the negative side of things more so than the positive, but you change your mindset over time. And when you do realize that actually this is good wine, and maybe I could do something with this. And it was a slow draw too. I was a worker. I'm always a worker. I worked my ass off for people my entire life. And it's like, holy shit, what if I worked as hard as I do for other people as I do for myself? Yeah. Yeah. So that's like one of those things for me was a mindset change. Like when you bust your fucking ass for somebody else's dream, why don't you work that hard for your own? Yeah. So that's where I'm at now. Is like, why am I not working as hard as I can for my own dream? What I used to do for other people to make their business succeed, I need to do that for myself. So it was a mind switch for me. So, and I'm there now, and it's my family, and it's my people and the people that work for me and like help me out. I don't really have any employees, just friends who help because they appreciate me and what I'm doing. So like, that's the whole thing. You create a community. Yeah. And so, that's
community's huge.
It's huge.
Huge.
Especially here in this small town. I mean,
yeah.
Gosh, this little town, they know everything about you.
Yeah, that's true.
Just try to keep my nose clean.
Yeah, small town vibes, man.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, the wine community in general is very small. Like, even
for sure.
Worldwide, everyone's like, couple degrees of separation from whoever, right?
And for sure.
Like,
that's what's so fun. And out here, it's very supportive too. I mean, that's the thing. For listeners out there that don't know where we're at, Lake Chelan, Washington, like it's 40-ish wineries out here. Started in 2000 was when the AVA was developed, and then there was 6 wineries until like 2006, and then it kind of ballooned, and now we're at 40 winery tasting rooms. Like, I'm a winery, but I don't have a production facility. I use other people's equipment, and that's a few of us out here do that.
That's honestly, when you're growing a label organically, that's the fucking way to go.
It really is.
Without substantial financial backing, that's like a couple mil throwing into a production facility to make it perfect.
You use their capital investment on their production facility. I mean, a forklift, when you price it out, like a forklift, hoses, clamps, like just the little things, spray bottles, like all the stupid little things that you take for granted when you're in a cellar, like all those things cost money. And they all add up, but and then you make a white wine come to market way quicker. Yeah. Obviously, but a stainless steel tank. And then if you want to grow, where do you grow? Do you grow from this size to this size to this size? But your financial responsibility at each spot is different when you're scaling up. So if you can use somebody else's capital investment to get where you want to get and then do something later. Yeah. But it is
and you have to find the right people that will help you do that. Like, there's friends, like Brock. And there's also, you could be friends, or you could be an acquaintance that wants to see people succeed, or the wine in the area to grow more.
That's the whole thing out here. Everybody's very supportive. Yeah. And that's been the best thing out here is, like, working with different wineries just to bottle. Like, go up and bottle at one winery. When you need to run two barrels through or 4 barrels through, you can go use somebody else's 6 bottles bottler and go through that, and like you can do 4 pallets, and you're like, oh my gosh, or 2 pallets, which I did recently for a couple of wines that I was holding for a while, and there'd be no other way for me to do that without the support of this valley. So that's what's great, and it's all about community and relationship building. So of course, this valley is very supportive in lots of ways. But if you're out there listening and you wanted to start your own thing, work your ass off for somebody and have a vision, and then see how, if you can, ask them to do a AP agreement or definitely an AP. Custom crush is different, but AP, then you own your label. So you never want to say you're going to do something under somebody else's label unless you want them to sell your wine that you created under their label. So it's just one of the due diligence. Yeah. And so.
Yeah, like my boss always says, like, when we have to buy equipment and whatnot, he's always like, anyone that manufactures this shit, they just put like for winery use, and then just add 10 grand on.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
That's his ongoing joke, and it's like pretty accurate, I feel like.
It really is.
Yeah.
I try not to even look at the price of those things because it's terrifying.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, I just keep that in the back of the head, like, maybe that's in the future.
We'll see.
Yeah, as long as I can do this.
Depending on how sales go.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
buy wine, people.
Yeah, it's like, okay. We'll see. Yeah. And it's like every year you go over the budget, just like last night with my brother and my dad. Like, okay, well, we're doing pretty good. And it's like, well, we got all this expenses coming up for bottling. I mean, glass alone, corks, labels, the TTB, getting cola approval on labels, all those things, and a couple of new SKUs. And then we got to find colors for the label and all the fun stuff. It's like, this is a slow time. Like today, just topping barrels, added us a 2 the other day. ML's done, and I was like, oh, well, once that's done, then it's like, we'll check on the 22s, but then also, like, it's already mid-January. Yeah. It'll be spring before we know it. Yeah. And then busy season, too.
Yeah, God.
It's like running a taste room, slash on top of everything else. Hey, I don't have enough time. Don't have any free time.
No free time.
No, but that's part of, not complaining. I've worked 7 days a week for basically the last 20 years of my life. So
oh.
I'll sleep when I die.
There you go. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on the pod. I appreciate it. Erik Cooper, Vibe Cellars. Thank you guys for listening. Cheers.
Cheers, Ian. Thanks, man.
Yeah.